Thanks a lot for staying with us. A district court in Finland has ordered the remand of Biafran agitator Simon Ekpa on suspicion of public incitements to commit a crime with terrorist intent. The court made this decision after the Central Criminal Police arraigned him for his role in terror plaguing Nigeria's southeast region. Crime Commissioner and head of the investigation, Otto Hiltunen, said the police suspected Mr. Ekpa promoted his efforts from Finland, which led to violence against civilians in the region of southeastern Nigeria. Mr. Hiltunen also told the court that there were 4 other suspects in Finland, which the police believed were financing Simon Ekpa's operations. The report describes the main suspect, that Simon Ekpa, as a native of Lahti, a city in Finland, but that he has Nigerian roots. It's not the first time the police will be arresting Simon Ekpa for collecting money for alleged terrorist activities. In February 2023, they arrested him in a private apartment in Lahti, but released him same day. Meanwhile, Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa has expressed happiness with the arrest of Simon Ekpa in Finland. He believes this will be a step towards his extradition to Nigeria so that he faces justice. The CDS has always called for the arrest of Simon Ekpa following his deep involvement in fueling terrorism in southeast Nigeria. And the CDS says he's glad that the international community is partnering with Nigeria in the fight against terrorism. That's what we will focus on now. We bring in, he's already here in the studio, Darlington Umoru, a security expert, to speak to these developments. And you're very much welcome, Mr. Umoru, for coming in.
My pleasure, yes. Once again,
right,
as usual.
Right, and this is a subject that you're quite familiar with. You've also helped us to make sense of the matter. Simon Ekpa arrested yet again. How much of a breakthrough do you see this story?
Breakthrough? To me, this news is received with mixed feelings. It's not about Simon Ekpa being arrested. It's not about the courts declaring that he should be remanded. It's about what the Nigerian government will do with the situation on hand now. This administration has tried its best to see how much they could work with some other governments to minimize the extent of damages we're suffering from the hands of terrorists. The Southeast in particular, where the economy is being grounded. The Southeast in particular, where ordinarily the layman would describe as the Japan or China of West Africa. The Southeast, particularly where innocent people have been gruesomely killed on every Monday and some of the days. Recall, a few days ago on Monday precisely, in Anambra State, in some, about 2-3 communities, about 5 persons were gruesomely murdered because it was a Monday. And some of the persons that were murdered were, is it the vigilante, you call them, those who are assisting security agencies in ensuring that there's peace in the Southeast. All of this put together, I'm not really excited at this moment. Forgive me, please. Many are excited, the Chief of Defense, all of them, they're excited. No, I'm not. I will only be excited if Simon Ekpa is formally extradited to Nigeria and then be made to face the law. As he's facing the law, at least he will be kept somewhere where commands will not be dished out to his people, where activities that are fueling the sit-at-home for Monday will no longer gain power and strength, when he will no longer be speaking for some time and then will be made to face the law. Even IPOB is against him. They've also made comments. They are happy that Simon Ekpa, because At this point in time, you know, I've said here and some other television stations that it's very difficult in most times to separate the activities of the cohorts of Simon Ekpa and those of IPOB. But loosely, we would refer to most activities, we will credit them to, is it credit now?
Yes,
to IPOB.
To IPOB.
But IPOB over time has been trying to remove itself from some of those gruesome killings, some of those deadly activities happening there. But again, can they completely exonerate themselves from all of these activities? IPOB is one of the beginners. Simon Ekpa apparently could have been a fallout of the activities of IPOB. Could have been. I'm not excited at this point in time. The federal government should go beyond, take it from, now is the court has said it should be remanded. What diplomatic roles do we need to play to work with the Finnish government to ensuring that from that remand custody, after answering questions, then it should be made to come to the country where these activities are suspected in Finland are really been taking place.
And that is where I want to take it up with you, because if the defense headquarters has expressed, you know, hope for his extradition to face justice, IPOB is excited. So many people are excited, even some people in the Southeast, just like you've said, are quite excited. But you're also concerned about whether he would be extradited to Nigeria or not. But,
because it's not the first time he's been arrested.
Yes,
you said that.
Yes, but then what legal and diplomatic hurdles could arise in securing Simon Ekpa's extradition, given his Finnish citizenship and his international terroristic activities?
That is the challenge. He's a citizen of Finland. And so if the government of Finland must release him to Nigeria, that would depend on the bilateral relations that Nigeria apparently would have had with Finland. And the Nigerian government should also be able to employ the articles in the UN and those of ECOWAS that talks against terrorism and that states that terrorists should be brought to book. How much can we play on all of that? It depends on your diplomatic power. And right now, it's not just partly Nigerian, but he's from Finland.
Yeah, and he's also a local politician as well.
Yes, he's a Finnish citizen. And so it becomes a little bit difficult. But where they can hinge their pursuit on is the aspect, how much proof can they bring to fore in terms of his roles concerning terrorism in Nigeria, fueling terrorism, financing terrorism. Now, beyond all of this, they should be able to prove how much he's been able to provide sponsorship to his sect. And then there should be evidences of those who have made confessions that they are linked with him. Otherwise, it will be a difficult thing. That was apparently the reason the first time he was arrested, he was released. Of course, it's beyond public condemnation and public judgment. Courts and countries don't look at all of that. They want to deal with facts. Bring facts and evidences that can help nail or bring this man before they could extradite him. If he were not a Finnish citizen, pure Nigerian citizen, then it would have been a different case altogether. But that's why I told you earlier on in my opening remarks that I'm not excited at this point in time. Southeast, many are excited, many are not excited.
But okay, even if he's a citizen, from the face what we have now as per the allegations that premeditated his arrest.
Allegations.
He said he's accused of even flouting Finnish laws, talking about financing, sponsoring crime. Between up until last week, when was 18? 18 was even this week. 18 was it was last week, I should say. So he's accused of even between 2021 and up until November 18 this month. So even at that, don't you think that this time around there just might be, you know, some progress that have been made in Nigeria's bid, but there might be the fact that the country may have to wait for Finland to finish with him first before bringing him home?
They don't need to wait.
Okay.
They do not need to wait. It's not about some of these allegations you call them, because they've not been established.
Still innocent.
Until they are established, there's nothing anybody could do. And you must be able to establish all of those with facts and documentations and evidences from people who could stand up against him, particularly those who have been arrested. You must bring... The courts do not operate on allegations, hearsay. I could come here to say anything I want to say, but do I have the facts to back them up? As much as I don't have if I don't have real proofs beyond reasonable doubt, it will be thrown out.
And talking about proof.
Right. How much of proof would one need?
Talking about proof, they've already established the fact that he has been running this alleged crimes.
Who has established?
They've already stated.
Who has established?
I take your point, but let us look at the elements of this case. It has been stated, according to Finland, that he has been running these crimes. He has been organizing these crimes
on
in
the
Southeast,
basis, what you do not know, what you do not perhaps know that is silent is that there are petitions.
Right. So if the petitions now, we have petitions from several Nigerians. Talking about petitions, we have from several Nigerians, several individuals outside the shores of Nigeria that have been calling for his arrest.
And the Nigerian government.
That have been calling for his arrest. The question that I want to ask now is this issue of proof. If you look at the comments that he has been making across social media, calling for people to sponsor crime, $10,000 from men, from women every month, and all of these several things that he has been, you know, spewing on social media, aren't they inciting enough?
They're inciting, but you have to prove them beyond every reasonable doubt.
What kind of proof are you talking about?
It's before the courts.
Okay. What kind of proof are you talking about?
It's the courts. Because, for instance, I could provide documents that may not have been backed up. That he said this, some of these things, he goes to the court and says he's not guilty. The moment he says he's not guilty, it's now up to you to begin to provide those concrete documents to the court to look into, and then begin to say, yes, you were involved in this. These are proofs. You were involved in this with this person. This is a proof. And then you also need persons to come stand as witnesses.
So in this
that's
case,
why in most times, that's why in most times we say the law is an ass.
Yeah.
You could catch a criminal now in the act and take him to court, right? That same man, that case may be thrown out. You caught him red-handed, right? But you're unable to provide enough evidences. You've seen cases where EFCC, DSS, and the rest of them will take some persons to court, particularly past politicians. At the end of the day, what happened? For corruption. At the end of the day, what happens?
Maybe
the way the courts sees some of these things, the way countries, particularly when it has to do with their citizens, perceive some of these things, we say, yes, it's been in the social media. Yes, it's sponsored a lot. Yes, some of these things you know. But it's not enough to just come say it.
Well, if
that's
you're talking about...
That's the point I am making. That's the reason
you also
I am
said,
not excited now.
You also said on social media and all of that, that's enough proof. Because you have, when you have someone
set up a ring,
yes, set up a ring light, you know, throw invective. This Simon Ekpa has called virtually everyone a terrorist, including myself sitting here, BKO, you know, some of our programs. I even saw it on his page on Twitter as we're speaking, cropping, taking the snippets out of one of the interviews we had with the defense headquarters, what's it called? Christopher Musa.
Okay.
Yes, the CDS. Right, the chief of defense staff. Right. You know, he just cropped it out, and then he's always calling everyone terrorist whenever you talk about him. I can't, if he's allowed to watch this program, he might also crop what you're saying and say that. So everyone, all of those things are there on the social media. How much proof do you need more Because it's just like when you have someone...
It's not me. It's about...
No, I'm not saying you. You here now is impersonal.
It's about the Nigerian government. Now, this is a step. Like she said. It's about the Nigerian government getting its acts together. Okay? And capitalize on what is on ground now. The man at this point in time has been restricted from his freedom of movement. Okay? He's kept somewhere. So we need the government to move quickly. We need the departments that need to work, to go, to hit the ground running at this time. So that before he could pass through completely the court case being brought against him, Nigerian government will swoop in. You know, back the court up with facts and evidences. You know, we have an embassy there. We have the Nigerian government here. We could use all of the embassy there to achieve what we want to achieve. It's a great opportunity for us if the Finnish government itself has taken up a case against him on the same topic, terrorism. I'm saying that we should not take everything just on
face value.
Yes, on the face value of it. Let's get down to work. You and I know how much havoc this has done to a region of this country that is affecting everybody. If it's not affecting you directly, it's affecting you indirectly. That's right. You could have a friend, you could have a brother, you could have somebody who is resident there. Some of the biggest, richest Easterners find it difficult to go to the East right now. I read about one very popular man. He says he's finding it difficult to go to the Southeast. December has come. The Southeast used to be a beehive of social activities where all over the world, wherever they are, they come back home. Some persons were arrested in Lagos, some criminals who came from Southeast to hit Ladipo, and the police were smart enough. For those who were arrested, they said, because these big men don't come back home anymore. And so they had to begin to trace them outside the Southeast. So we are all affected. You know the worst thing that can happen to a man, that you feel like going back to your roots, but you are afraid to go back to your roots.
That's right.
Because you might not return. We have seen situations where even those who came from abroad couldn't go back. We've seen situations where on Mondays, prominent Nigerians have been killed.
All right.
What has the governors in the Southeast been able to do?
All right. Let's ask further, Mr. Omoru. So first it was Nnamdi Kanu. You know, the back and forth. I can relate somewhat with what you are saying, and perhaps maybe that is also why you are, not exactly excited, because Nnamdi Kanu has been in court now for a while now, and the back and forth. You really have to struggle to keep up, so to speak, with the legal drama coming from that end. But let's look at the security outlook now. How much difference you feel this will make to the security situation in the Southeast? Nnamdi Kanu is still in jail. Is still being remanded on orders of the court. Simon Ekpa now arrested in Finland. What happens now?
You want my opinion? My very candid opinion. Nnamdi Kanu has said if he's released in 24 to 48 hours, insecurity in the Southeast will be quelled.
But did you also hear Simon Ekpa saying that if Nnamdi Kanu tells him that he should stop what he's doing, he will not listen to him until Nnamdi Kanu comes to Finland to tell him physically, and then they negotiate.
So how would he go to Finland when he's in the Gulag?
So meaning that those who pledge allegiance to their own Prime Minister Simon Ekpa, so to speak, that's the way he calls himself, they would not listen to Nnamdi Kanu even if he gives the order. That's what it means, don't you think?
There's something my heart is asking me to say, but my head is saying I shouldn't say it here. Let me give you an instance, a scenario. Sambisa Forest was once upon a time solely occupied by Boko Haram, and the extent of terrorism on Nigeria was gruesome. Then came ISWAP, trying to occupy a portion of the same Sambisa Forest. What did we have? It became an advantage to Nigerian military and Nigerians, because the fight was now between the two terrorist groups. as per who takes over Sambisa Forest and who takes charge.
Supremacy battle.
And then that helped the Nigerian government and the Nigerian people when ISWAP took on Shekau. Today, Shekau is history. Shekau is history not by your strength, but by the infighting between these two groups. As per who takes over Sambisa Forest, I leave the matter there.
Okay.
So draw your conclusion.
Well, it's different region, different people are involved.
It's relative.
It's quite dynamic.
Draw your conclusion. Release Nnamdi Kanu. IPOB is not in support of the self-acclaimed prime minister of Biafra sect. Nnamdi Kanu has said release him. The court has said release him. True or false? Now, the majority of the Southeast, and how do we now draw a clear line between who is responsible for the nefarious, for this gruesome killing in the Southeast when Nnamdi Kanu is still there? IPOB has repeatedly told Nigerians that they are not involved in the sit-at-home for Monday, and they are not involved in many of the killings that are being credited to them. Simon Ekpa has not shied away from that. And then Nnamdi Kanu, he didn't start this movement for Biafra.
But he championed,
He championed a section. Yeah. And he has said, let me go and I will settle what is happening in the Southeast. Why not give him a thought? Why not give that a thought? Why not give him a trial? Why not releasing Nnamdi Kanu to his people?
Especially with the
and then hold him responsible if he does not bring back peace. I schooled in the Southeast. I worked in the Southeast. I served this nation under the Nigerian Youth Service Corps in the Southeast.
You were going somewhere.
But Mr. Omoro, okay, so you've had your say on the issue. You feel that this is a matter that he should be released. But would it be an unconditional release? Help us to, understand how somebody who is being prosecuted for these heinous offenses, these alleged offenses, treasonable offenses and all that, and you know what that carries if one is found guilty. But if, for the sake of peace in that region, what conditions should be attached to this if it is positively considered by the government?
Allow Nnamdi Kanu go home. I've not said release him unconditionally. If the courts, the judiciary has said he should be released, the court should set the conditions and then let him be released. And then let Nnamdi Kanu, if Simon Ekpa has said that he would not respect the opinion of Nnamdi Kanu up until they both sit. They both know it. They both are fighting, they are on the same struggle. And there's a reason for him to have said that he will want two of them to sit down and look at each other eyeball to eyeball and then talk with themselves and then reach at an agreement. Why not bestow that responsibility on Nnamdi Kanu at this point in time? And then let him fail. If the court has said release him, why won't you respect the court? Release him on the conditions or conditionalities that the courts will submit. Extradite, work on the extradition of Simon Ekpa to Nigeria. Perhaps that meeting could be taking place in Nigeria and not in Finland. If you succeed or succeeded in bringing Simon Ekpa to Nigeria to answer for his own crime. But at this point in time, we want to distinguish in clear courts who is responsible for the bigger crime in the Southeast. Why should the sit-at-home Monday thing, the state apparatus has not been able to provide succor to that extent in the Southeast? So what do you need at this point in time? There's what is called the non-kinetic approach when it comes to terrorism, certainly matters that has to do with terrorism. It's not all the time you use force. It's not. You remember a certain Irabo? With the Nigerian military, the Nigerian security apparatus, they tried all they could to release the men who were taken from the train that was on the corridor of Abuja, Kaduna. You remember? But they didn't succeed. People were paying ransom. and then some were being tortured. But it got to a time, so Irabor constituted a committee and asked them to work on the bandits. At the end of the day, what did we get? We got everybody released. Non-kinetic approach.
But
if you bring in, sorry, 1 second.
Right.
If you release Nnamdi Kanu, as generally been demanded, not just within Nigeria, but by some part of the international community, and then let the court fix the conditionalities and then police him closely. Give him the task. Let me give you another instance. A certain Tompolo recently accused the Navy, a section of the military. He fingered them as being part of the problem of oil in the Niger Delta. True or false? A certain Tompolo was a non-state actor at a point in time in this country.
That's right.
But that certain Tompolo who took arms against the nation
is now being used in
he ran away when the country needed to arrest him. But he came back. A certain government discovered that you need to use, I don't want to use the expression in my head now to say what I want to say. Right. You need to use.
But the one who knows the path to champion the
cause. Your head is on top of your neck. So let me not use the expression that was coming to me. But today we have achieved, the Nigerian oil production has increased. One, aside from other militants respecting him, aside from him having a pact, whether officially or unofficially, with other militants, there's been peace. Now we have discovered routes and areas
Mr. Darlington, because of our time,
oil are being stolen from. So give this man a chance.
Mr. Umaru, because of our time, very quickly, if you look at...
I addressed that this morning. I'm a chief in Lagos State.
All right.
So when you... I didn't pick that from the ground.
Chief Umaru.
Address me properly.
Right, okay. No problems at all. I take that. So if you look at the Biafra agitation, the way people see it goes beyond Simon Ekpa and Nnamdi Kanu. It's a secessionist agenda, and this has been championed even long before.
Secessionist agenda.
Right.
I want that underlined.
Right. So do you not feel that even though Nnamdi Kanu is released, Simon Ekpa is extradited, they meet one-on-one, and then they say, okay, we hands up. Do you think Biafra agitation would definitely go down?
I answer it with this. Once upon a time, in the Niger Delta, there was war. The Nigerian government could not export the amount of barrels of oil that was credited to her through OPEC. But when when Jonathan came, the Jonathan Yaradua administration, when Jonathan came, Jonathan introduced something. Drop your arms and be paid. Drop your arms, let your children be trained. These were some of the demands of the people of Niger Delta. That was done. Today you have peace in the Niger Delta.
Asking for amnesty for the people of the
so if you have what is happening then at the first thing, when you don't have security, there cannot be peace. There's no amount of negotiation you can achieve in the face of insecurity. First, stop the fighting and killing. Allow Monday activities to resume. Saturday, Sunday and Monday free. And then the economy of the nation is affected. The economy of the Southeast is grounded. There's so much palpable fear by the people of the Southeast. Beyond Mondays, they don't even go out. I just referred you to Monday. This Monday that just went by. How many persons were slaughtered in their own blood? So the first we need, there must be peace. If the two of them agree and talk to their people, but that is not where the biggest problem lies.
Then
I expected you to ask me, how would those firearms be recovered?
Because they are in the, can even IPOB rein in on these boys or these individuals that have the arms? Does IPOB even know them all?
Well, I don't think I have an answer to that because I'm not a part of them. But the truth is, the biggest challenge I have said in the world today is arming any group. it's very easy to purchase these firearms and ammunition and arming a group or a sect to do a particular job. But the most biggest thing is, can you disarm them at the end of the day? Can you recover all of the arms? Now, look at this. Peradventure, these two persons come together to say, okay, drop your arms. We have agreed to embrace peace. I do not think all of these arms can be recovered. And the few ones that may not be recovered may now be channeled into banditry. That's right. Banditry in the sense of armed robbery. You know, here in this part of the world, when we say banditry, we loosely refer to kidnapping and collecting of ransom. But armed robbery is also a part of banditry.
All right. Security expert Darlington Umoru, we thank you very much. We will definitely have to bring you back to speak more on this and other related issues. We thank you very much for always, Chief Umoru.
My pleasure being here again.